I always forget to say, hello, it's Martin, and I always forget to say it's within reach. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Lowestoft. It is April the 25th, and this was supposed to be a day out in Felixstowe. I wanted to go and see the sunrise in Felixstowe, but I saw the forecast. This is the sunrise at the moment. So anyway, I've changed the video slightly. I'm going to end up in Felixstowe. I thought I would try and change things up a little bit. So I thought I would try and visit all the piers in the UK, and there are 44. And I thought, as I was going to Felixstowe, let's start with Suffolk. So I think I'm going to see 4 today, 2 in Lowestoft, 1 in Southwold and 1 in Felixstowe. I think 1 here is going to be a no, 1 here is going to be a so near but so far. The 1 in Felixstowe is a so near but so far. And then the 1 in Southwold is a cracker. Anyway, this is the South Pier, which I find funny because it's north of the main pier, which you can't see because of the weather. Oh, they've got the fog alarm going. I do hope you can hear that. I can't believe they've got the fog alarm going on. And I guess it should make sense because it is foggy. Oh, it's all kicking off. What does that one mean? Oh, they're talking to each other. So there we go, pier number 1. If I'm going to achieve all 49, I said 44 earlier, it's 49. But this one is a bit of a duffer as a start, but I have to say it's been brilliant. Hey up, oh that'll be. God, it's all going on. Even though, as I say, I don't regard this as a pier. I really don't. Look at the size of that. I hope you can see that in this mist. You never know what the camera can pick up. Right, I am in the middle of nowhere. I realised Lowestoft is the most easterly town in the UK. And there is a most easterly point in Lowestoft. So I thought I would walk. I thought, how often am I going to be here? Let's go and get to the most easterly point in the UK while I'm here. And it's all a bit icky. You have to walk through a really industrial point. That over there, I don't know if you can see that through the wiry fence, is bird's eye. So if you like your bird's eye food, it comes from Lowestoft. There's no wind today, but the turbine looks rather enigmatic. And here we are. I am now officially in the most easterly point. I am the most easterly person on the mainland in the UK. And it's marked by a great big circle. I was going to try and say something clever then, and I've completely failed to do so. Oh, look. Channel Islands, 285, London, 106. Lizard, 352 miles away. Land's End, 364. Dublin, 340. Edinburgh, 316. That's really cool. I only came here to see the piers. I was more interested in Felixstowe. But this is lovely. So somehow, I don't know what I've turned up and there's something going on, it looks more than a park run. It looks like a really organised run, and I've just found myself in the middle of it. So I've come down to the beach, which isn't the end of the world, but I'm not as sure I can get very far going this way. But what a difference an hour makes. I'm going to get wet. The weather has changed completely. You can still see up there the mist. But we can now see down there is the pier, which we couldn't see earlier on. Again, I don't know whether you can pick these up. I should try and take a photo just in case. I couldn't see any of this. So there are a couple of things out there. I'll have to have a look and see what they are. I'm guessing that they are something to do with the war. And then all the way out here, huge, well, not huge waves, but you know what I mean, breaking waves. I'm guessing it's sandbanks. And I'm guessing the tide is turning. But it's really churned up out there, as opposed to how calm it is in here. I think we might be in luck. So there are two sides to Lowestoft, as far as I can tell. There's this part, the seaside. In fact, let's say there's three. There's this part, the seaside, which is really lovely. Really, really lovely. Then, as I say, I went to Costa for breakfast. Breakfast of champions. Whoa. Oh. Wowza. We're slightly off camber and I wasn't paying attention. That was so slippery. That was nearly hilarious. Anyway, Costa was in town, unlike a lot of towns, certainly a lot of seaside towns, and I don't want to be mean to Lowestoft, but it wasn't very nice. Then I walked to Ness Point, which was the most easterly point in, well, the UK. As I said when I was walking there, it was very industrial. Not exactly horrible, but very industrial. It had changed. I walk there because I walk everywhere. But it wasn't the nicest walk. See what I mean? Hundreds. Anyway, enough of that. It wasn't the nicest walk to get there. There was a car park there, so if you do go there, there was a car park there. And now I'm on my way down to, I think it's Clarendon, Claremont Pier. I'm just making my way down nearer the water. So if you can see the pier now, I think we're going to be able to go in that part. Maybe not because it's still too early. I've no idea what the time is. I think it must be 9 o'clock. They must have started to run at 9 o'clock. So maybe the pier will be open, but I think this bit here is shut. I'm not going to go into that bit there. I want to go out there, and I don't think you can. One thing I will say I shall remember Lowestoft for is seagulls. It's funny, you're walking around the buildings and you notice on the pavement in front of you a huge pile of poo. And you think, hold on a moment. And you look up and they're all there. Now then, to set the scene before we leave, because as I say, we're not going to get up there. So the final part, the car park is just up there. It was Ringo, I think that's the app. It was £4.40 to park for 2 hours. And the toilets are just over there, which is obviously the first thing that I discovered and the most important thing that I discovered. So that's it for Lowestoft, and I'm going to go down to Southwold now. Right, we are in Southwold. Took about 20 minutes from Lowestoft, and this is the car park. This is called the Pier car park. It is 9:30 on a Saturday. Once again, Ringo, once again, £4.40 for 2 hours. We're parked by a boating lake. There's a tea room over there. So it won't surprise many people who either know me or have seen my videos before that I'm quite a fan of Southwold, and I suspect it's because I'm an old fart. So I like Southwold more than I like Great Yarmouth, in the same way that I like Mablethorpe more than I like Skegness. It's a nice seaside town. It doesn't have loads of arcades. It doesn't have loads of people driving their fast cars up and down the front with noisy exhausts. It's a quiet place for quiet people, and I am a quiet people, otherwise known as an old fart. Oh, and it's closed. What time is it open? There are people. There are people on the pier. How do we get into the pier or onto the pier? There must be a way that we can get on. And then we get our ticks. We've got wooden boards. We are going out over the water. We can look through the boards to see the water. Strange that nothing's open yet. So we've got some seats, all wind braked, so that looks quite nice. A clock which thinks it's 6:45. And that's over towards the car park with all of the huts and everything, which are probably all worth more than my house. What a glorious day. Lots of fishermen up here. Don't be fooled. It is cold. It's about 8 degrees at the moment, and I'm standing here, all of a sudden it's quite chilly again. So anybody who's watched one of the million videos will know Southwold Lighthouse is interesting because it's not on the coast. It isn't sort of the closest thing to the sea. As you can see there, it's inland strangely, and I don't know why that is. Maybe I should have watched one of the million videos where people have explained. So I'm going to take a walk down there, and then I'll be done with Southwold, and we'll make our way to Felixstowe. George Orwell spent time in Southwold as a teenager and in his 30s next door to the fish and chip shop on the High Street. How about that? There's nothing amazing about that pier, but I think that's why I like it. You walk out, you look at the sea, and you relax. It looks like it's coming to life. There is a chip shop on there, there's a gift shop, there were chaps getting ready with donuts, which I really could have hung around for the way I'm feeling at the moment. That is a good pier. That's going to be the best thing of today, I think. When we get to Lowestoft, you'll see why. Would you just look at that? So you can just see the lighthouse. That's where we're heading, but I just thought I've just come back up to the main road. just come back from the road and I was kind of merrily walking along and then you realise that you can see it. And there is a lighthouse, and it is working today. Let's try and get out the sun. There we go. That's the thumbnail, isn't it? But it's surrounded by houses. But obviously still visible out to sea, and still very much a working lighthouse. Let's just go over and have a look. Does this sign say anything? You can do tours up the lighthouse. How about that? So that is Southwold done for me. Oh, look at these cannons. Always get excited about cannons. I'm sure there is a history to this. I bet that building was something really important. And are these cannons put there, or have they been there for a long time? Either way, there's the lighthouse, and we're heading back towards the pier. There is a coffee shop just down there, so I think I might just go down and see, because it's been nearly half an hour since I've had a cuppa and a piece of cake. So that's the end of part one, which was my day out in Suffolk. It was supposed to just be, let's go to Felixstowe, let's watch the sunrise and walk to the pier. And it became so much more. It was a fantastic day. So again, thank you for watching. I'll get part two, the Felixstowe part, out as soon as I can.